Welcome to the worst of the riot extra. Isaiah, I have some exciting news from Loch Ness, which is going to be the theme of our podcast today, all about secret monsters, mythological beasts. Do they exist? Do you believe? Do you believe in the Loch Ness Monster?
Not one of the ones that I believe in, but that would be a cool one.
It'd be cool if it was real.
It would be so cool.
Well, see if this makes you change your mind. One purported Loch Ness Monster expert, Eoin O'Fallaghan.
What was
Eoin, his name, Eoin O'Fallaghan.
Got it.
I don't know. I think it's Scottish because, the Loch Ness is in Scotland.
Makes sense.
According to Eoin, so far here in 2024, based off of their monitoring of Loch Ness, they've discovered a pattern of behavior for Nessie. They believe that Nessie is traveling one way early in the morning, traveling north early in the morning, like when the sun is rising, and then you don't see it during the day, and then later in the day, as the sun sets, as the daylight wanes, they've caught supposedly Nessie moving southward. And so they're trying to figure out now why this is what the Loch Ness Monster is doing. What does it mean? But it's one more thing that some experts believe they've learned about Loch Ness Monster as of late.
Where do you stand on the Loch Ness Monster? Something that you consider could be real? Have no faith in it at all?
I feel like the Loch Ness Monster, I'm of two minds because it feels like one of the more plausible of these mythical monsters. It feels like one of the more plausible ones where if somebody if they one day did prove it, you'd be like, well, that's not that hard to believe, actually. But at the same time, I feel like there's been much more devotion to trying to find this monster that if it did exist, this is the one that I feel would have been found at this point.
You think it would be the Loch Ness Monster?
What do you mean? I think that would be, I think it would have been discovered. I do think this is when we would have been able to crack the case by now.
But that's where the ocean is so mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
To where I think a lot of things could be hidden in the ocean.
I mean, we're still learning about the deep
Exactly.
depths. Yeah. But this is in the ocean. It is a very deep lake.
True.
But it's not actually the ocean. But it is very deep.
But water just seems mysterious to me. But at the same time,
that's a good point.
Loch Ness Monster, no go for me. But would be cool.
So if you don't believe in Loch Ness Monster, are there any mythological creatures, cryptids, many would call them, that you adhere to the idea that they exist? Aliens, Bigfoots, Yetis, Jersey Devils, Mothmen. Any of these things ringing true for you?
Not super true. True. If I had to believe in any, the ones that I like to think about the most, mermaids. Yet again, straight back to the ocean.
You like to think about them?
Like I like to think they could be real.
Oh, okay.
Not that I believe that they are real, but if you are trying to convince me that mermaids are not in the ocean, I would ask you, there's so many things that are in the ocean we don't know about. Could half human, half fish, not be in the ocean? And you always hear the stories, too, about the guys that are on the boats or the ships, late nights, and they see the mermaids in the ocean. It just seems like one that could be real.
You know what's weird about mermaids, too, is that they're always depicted as these, like, slender, curvaceous women, right?
There's no way they actually are.
But then the flip side is that, like, the explanation is, these sailors at sea, they probably saw, like, seals or something and thought that they were women. And it's like, seals are not curvaceous and slender. They're actually pretty large. And so I just don't know why. I don't think sailors would mix those two up, is what I'm saying. Either our depiction of what mermaids actually look like is way wrong, which also could be. It could be that they don't look like that. And also, why do we always assume mermaids are they're just as smart as humans? Maybe there's mermaids down there, but they have like the mind of a fish.
So therefore, they would have no interest in contacting us, interacting with us. They would be afraid.
They may not be able to. Yeah, you're right. They'd be afraid. But then you would think we'd be able to lure them with a hook.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Like a worm.
A worm.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's one that's always piqued my interest, mermaids. Another one, dragons.
Dragons? I didn't think about dragons.
You didn't even consider dragons, did you?
No, because I think it's open and shut. If there was dragons,
it's open and shut.
How would we not know about dragons? How would we not have a dragon in the zoo somewhere at this point?
No, I understand that. I get what you're saying there. But at the same time, the dinosaurs, I could believe that dragons were on the earth when dinosaurs were. I don't think there's dragons now.
Sure, yeah.
But I think when dinosaurs were here, there could have been dragons.
I guess that's reasonable.
And this is the thing about dinosaurs, too. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I read this the other day. Dinosaurs apparently were on the earth for 165 million years.
Dinosaurs.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Read that the other day, right?
It's a long time.
We've only been on the earth, humans, for 200,000 years. Isn't that the wildest thing you've ever heard?
Yeah. Which is why I always have a hard time with the dinosaurs.
How?
How?
If you Google how long were dinosaurs on the earth, it's going to say 165 million years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you Google how long have humans been on earth, it's going to say 200,000 years.
Yeah.
You're telling me that in that 165 million years, there couldn't have been a dragon?
Sure. You're not going to hear any arguments from me. I mean, a dragon is just a dinosaur that breathes fire, right? What's the difference?
That's what I think, too.
What's the difference?
It's like a pterodactyl.
We can't even agree on what dinosaurs look like. Did they have feathers? Did they not? What sounds did they make? Can a bone tell you if a dinosaur did breathe fire? Maybe some of them did. Some of the ones we already think about. Maybe the iguanodon could breathe fire. We just didn't find, you can't tell that from bones.
And that's always been a wild one for me. Yeah. The dinosaurs, dragons, and then the final one. Mm-hmm. These ones I believed in for a while as a child growing up. Vampires.
Oh, you believed in vampires?
Mm-hmm.
Well, some people kind of live that lifestyle.
Still.
Right? Yeah. Uh-huh. So that's those are kind of cool, but you're not like a half human, half bat that flippy flops between the two and actually eats people's blood and whatever, can only come out during the day. All that is a no.
Yeah, the vampires, that was another one growing up. I was very afraid of vampires, which now I know, not real.
Why were you so afraid of them? What made you afraid?
I feel like I watched a lot of movies, shows that were mainly vampire-esque.
Such as Vampirina?
Never saw Vampirina.
Oh, okay.
But I can think of many vampire shows that freaked me out to where dragon shows and mermaid shows, those weren't really
those aren't scary, yeah.
But vampire shows scary.
Yeah. So where do you stand? Because the ones that I would like to be real or that I feel are more plausible, Bigfoot. Bigfoot/Yeti.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it be fun I don't know. I don't want to, because we've all seen the movies and how it plays out. If we ever find a Bigfoot, the assumption is we're going to mistreat it and it's going to be, it's going to be whining and whatever. And we're going to be like, shut up. We need to steady you and whatever. I'm not sure that's what we would actually do, but I do have a fear that we would do that. But it would be cool if we could find Bigfoot and just let him be, but then know about him. That would be cool to me.
But isn't Bigfoot the crappiest mythical creature?
Why?
What even is he? What's cool about him? Everything else I've named has cool features.
But Bigfoot has cool features.
There's no cool features.
He's big and strong and hairy.
That's not a cool feature.
It's a similar to existing animals, so it's that makes sense. And he's really good at hiding.
I would rather mermaids be real, or vampires, or dragons, anything else. Bigfoot does nothing for me. Just a big hairy guy that just walks around, and apparently he's huge.
Yeah.
Doesn't do enough for me.
I like the idea of Bigfoot. I also like Bigfoot, Yetis. I don't know. I like it. I like the thought. I'll tell you my favorite, and it's one that assuredly does not exist. Mothman.
Mothman.
Are you familiar with Mothman?
I am familiar with the Mothman.
I've been to the Mothman Festival.
No, you haven't.
I have.
So you're a believer.
No, I'm telling you, I don't believe the Mothman exists, but I do think it's a cool monster.
I assume it's in West Virginia.
West Virginia. He like shows up at bridges and whatever, scares people, but also warns them possibly about things. The Mothman is it's a cool thing. I like that town in West Virginia has that.
Yeah, Mothman
on the Ohio River
doesn't do a lot for me.
We should go to the Mothman Festival together.
No,
it's fun. You'd have a good time.
I'm not into the Mothman. Doesn't do enough for me.
It's fun because it's although it's based around Mothman, the whole town. It's just it just celebrates, of course, all of the different mythical creatures there for Mothman Festival.
Another one that does nothing for me. Mm-hmm. Unicorns do nothing for me.
Yeah,
but unicorns are popular.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's like the most popular one, especially with the kiddos.
Yeah.
Love the unicorns. Any kind of corn.
Because they're cute.
They are cute.
But you have to wonder some of these too. Like the mermaids, the explanation, the question of who came up with this idea in the first place. The mermaids make sense. Some sailors, dehydrated, they've got some diseases and whatever. They've been at sea for months. And they're like, I think I saw a ladyfish.
Hey, I don't know why you're discrediting mermaids. They're like the most believable one.
No, they are not.
Yes, they are.
But it makes sense why somebody would be tricked or fooled, duped into believing a mermaid or into coming up with the idea in the first place. Bigfoot, likewise. Somebody saw a bear, assuming Bigfoot's not real. Loch Ness Monster, sure. Sometimes little sticks floating in a lake. It looks like a lizard creature.
Or bigger sticks.
Yeah, logs. But like unicorns, who invented that? Dragons, who came up with that? Where did they get these ideas? Who was the person who was coming up with these ideas?
They came up with the idea of
who came up with the idea
of a magical horse?
Uh-huh. Why a horn? Whose idea was that?
What's to protect the unicorn? They need the horn.
But they're never depicted like stabbing people to death with them.
Oh, yeah. Nobody wants to see that side of a unicorn. That's the real part.
Yeah.
Yeah, not into unicorns. Leave that one to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly not real.
Now, let me ask you then, what would it take, because you don't seem to be a believer.
Mm-mm.
What would it take to make you believe? Because we're in a day and age where more and more stuff can be faked. And so even if you saw, I'm just picturing like, if you saw an image online that seemed to definitely be the Loch Ness Monster, I still feel like you'd be like, yeah, but that could be CGI or that could be AI or just some kind of, it could be doctored in some way, even a video.
Videos don't do it for me anymore.
But at the same time, you're not going to go to the Loch Ness and see it for your own eyes. So what would you have to do? What would it have to be?
I would need confirmation via news.
The news. So you just have to tell. You need somebody else to tell you to believe.
I need somebody else. I need confirmation from a large group of people,
mm-hmm.
and not like the conspiracy theory people. I want like just normal everyday folks.
Yeah,
because videos do nothing for me. Now I've seen so many videos
mm-hmm.
about things that I thought looked real in the video. Like if we talk about like mermaids or whichever one you want to do. If you want to do aliens,
mm-hmm.
any of them. Here's a flying saucer. It looks real. But I need confirmation. I'm not believing anything in videos anymore.
So it's got to be
I can't even believe people on TikTok telling me stories, let alone some sort of mythical creature.
Every person who is a believer now started out as a normal person too, and now they've been branded as conspiracy theorists. But before they were a conspiracy theorist, they were a normal person, and then they had an experience that changed their mind. You don't think a lot of people are having their minds changed on mermaids just by reading something on Reddit.
Now,
do you?
I think the people that truly believe in some of these things, they already wanted to. They wanted to believe. They believe in a lot of things, if I'm having to guess. I feel like they're not everyday folk like normal. Like, they don't have a similar mindset as I do. They want to believe a little bit. Like the whole Bigfoot thing. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they came into it when they first heard about it, and they wanted to believe it. And now they do.
Do you think, because I mean, I've been to Mothman Festival, but I don't run in the circles of these conspiracy theorists or these, cryptozoologists. I'm not up on that. Do you think that like certain beliefs are looked down upon by others, as in like, it's kind of like what we just did. Yes. Loch Ness Monster, believable, but you're an idiot if you think mermaids are real. Do you think there's that kind of divide?
I think there has to be.
A push and pull between the different factions in cryptozoology.
I think even more so than how we do it.
Okay.
So we think, like, in my mind, like, mermaids more likely to be real than like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
But for them, I feel like it's the next step. If you truly believe mermaids are real, then if somebody came up to you and said vampires are real, you're going to be like, you're discrediting me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're making me look bad because I'm saying that this one's real, this mythical being, the mermaid's real.
Yeah.
And you saying that vampires are real, no one's even going to take me seriously because of just the blasphemy that you're throwing out there. I think it feels like they're getting grouped up a little bit, and so they have to look down upon others.
You don't think that, like, a mermaid believer, if somebody came and told them vampires were real, they'd be like, well, I don't believe you, but I have an open mind. Convince me. You don't think that's how it works?
It could be
like
that way.
Once you believe in one, you have to be open.
Believe in all.
Yeah, like, what's stopping you? Yeah.
That's tough. I could see people being both ways. I could see them being completely against it to me and like, you're making fun of me because I think mermaids are real.
Yeah.
Or you're making me look bad because obviously yours isn't real, but mine so clearly is. But now I'm being grouped up with all these other people. Right. But I also could see the people that want to believe in everything that would be open to hearing it out.
I think based off of my experience, my limited experience, the one time I went to Mothman Festival, I think that people are more there. Once you believe in one, you're just like, sure, whatever. Tell me more about this other thing I've never even heard of. The Chupacabra. Sure, why not?
Sounds good to me.
Jersey Devil. Sign me up.
Believe it.
And what's crazy, too, is that if you keep going down the list, like we've named most of the more popular ones, but there's so many that we don't even, that are so regional for some reason.
Someone's listening to this and they're like, they haven't even said mine yet. Why have they not brought up...
But many of them are very similar, too.
Why haven't they brought up gnomes yet?
Right.
I've been waiting for them to bring up gnomes. Or cyclops. Leprechauns. How about leprechauns? What about fairies? I know people believe in fairies.
Anything that's humanoid, to me, is the one... Those are the ones that are harder to believe.
Minotaur centaurs? Werewolves? We haven't even touched werewolves. We haven't even came close to werewolves yet. That's a big one.
What about this one? You're from Ohio. What about the Loveland frog? Have you heard of this?
I've never heard of the Loveland frog, but I have heard of Loveland.
Loveland, Ohio is home of the Loveland frog, a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly 4 feet, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. First, it looks like in 1970. Oh, no. It goes back in time, but in 1972, it gained renewed attention when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen the Loveland frog.
Oh, no, not a police officer.
See, a trustworthy individual. The Loveland frog must be real. Why would a police officer lie?
Why would he lie about that?
Yeah. There's also the you're from Ohio, the Ohio grassman, which is basically Bigfoot. Like I said, a lot of them are very similar. The Loveland frog, that sounds actually unique.
That is unique.
There's how many towns have their own
frogman?
Frogman, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many that you can't even begin to get them all.
Yeah, that's right. What's your favorite mythical being? Let us know. Chime in. We would love to hear from you. You can always text at 8772 RadioU. Did you say your actual favorite? Is it mermaids?
Mine is mermaids, yeah. I think mermaids are dragons. Probably the coolest for me.
Any closing thoughts?
I would say if you do want to believe in any of them, believe in them. Do it. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. You could easily convince me.
You know, the fun thing about these is we cannot prove that you're wrong. Right. We can't prove that they're real, but we definitely can't prove that they don't exist.
But that's also a dangerous way to live, you know? If I can't prove that you are or are not, I mean, just ask the witches about that. Did not go in their favor.
Yeah, that is true. It's the riot.